Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ND Ice. I'm your host, David Trinko, alongside Lincoln Retzloff and Ian Iverson. And Lincoln's already trolling me. One quick announcement last week. Sorry about the pod. Lincoln was out, and Lincoln usually edits our videos and does a great job. I don't know what happened when I did it, but it would not upload to the engine that we use to disperse it onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything but YouTube. It wouldn't upload correctly, and it was getting way too late at night, 1:30, and I had work in the morning, and I was just like, I guess we're not having an episode on Spotify. It wasn't even that good of an episode. Uh, it was fine. But if you want to listen to it, go give it a listen on YouTube if you haven't already, if you're curious what happened. We just went over the World Juniors, the Spangler Cup, Christmas break in general, and then a little bit of the Mercyhurst series. But we're back. We're going to do a recap of the Colorado College series that UND just finished up, and then we'll do a preview of the UND and Denver series. We'll go over the vent line and then whatever news or whatever that Lincoln and Ian want to go over. So, without further ado, let's get into weekend recaps. Lincoln, you were you've been gone on a little hiatus. You got deported to Mexico. Tell us a little bit about that and how your weekend was.
Yeah, I was in Cancun, the
Ken
family and
Kun.
girl.
Yo soy
Yeah,
Ken Kun.
and with the family and girlfriend. Yeah, we were in a pretty nice resort. Yeah, it was cool. Just hung out there, enjoyed the weather. It was nice being somewhere where it's not 5 degrees out all the time. I tried to watch the Mercyhurst games, but really it was a lot harder than I anticipated. And then all the ESPN there. I was looking forward to watching the FCS championship, but the ESPN there they had didn't pick it up, so I was a little pissed about that. Everything's like blacked out down there, and even on the
Mm,
TVs they didn't. They had some American football, but anyway, yeah, I just enjoyed the weather, and it's good to be back now. So school's starting up, yeah.
that's good. Ian, what about you, dude?
Oh, I didn't really do anything to be honest. Yeah, literally nothing. I don't have any. I watched the hockey games, I suppose. That was about it.
Gotcha.
Literally it.
Yeah, for me, I didn't do a ton. Hung out with some coworkers from work on Friday, and then tried to watch the game while that was happening. Didn't really get to watch it very closely. Didn't want to be rude, and there are more important things than watching the hockey game every week. Um, and then Saturday, didn't do much. Yeah, watched the game, tried to watch the game, missed part of it, but watched a chunk of it anyway. I got to get better at watching the games. I missed the Mercyhurst ones, kind of missed these ones. I caught enough of it and I watched the highlights, so I rewatched the period I missed. So hopefully we'll get into it. But Sunday, just watch the football games. So yeah, not much from me either. So we'll get into the recap of the CC series. I don't know how much you guys want to go. Oh my gosh, I don't know how much you guys want to go into depth onto this series. I'll just go over the scores real quick. UND on Friday night lost 3-2 in overtime against Colorado College. They got hot goal lead essentially. It's a term being used for teams that usually outshoot the opponent and still manage to lose the game. I mean, they don't have to lose to be hot goalied, but basically the goalie just played unreal and the score does not tell the real tale of the game. UND had 39 shots on goal to Colorado College's 26. CC was able to beat Jan Spunar, I think, what was it, far side on almost every goal on Friday.
Uh,
Uh,
the first one in the
on
in the
glove side,
I
the
think
first
the
one was
second one was just like a side and rebound
yeah,
from the exact same spot into the
yeah.
exact same corner.
So Spunar first not great weekend of the year. Um, UND scores were Elias Rookwood, right? Did I say it again? No, it was Ellis
Ellis.
Rookwood. Okay.
There you go.
I don't know what I keep doing that for. Ellis Rookwood and Ben Strinden. Drew Montgomery, Grand Forks native, also had the first goal for CC, tying goal. And then on Saturday night, CC opened the scoring. Mats Lindgren from Gavin Lindberg, who is the brother of Garrett Lindberg, UND commit Garrett Lindberg. They're both from Moorhead. And then it was an avalanche of goals from there. UND had a goal from Dylan James. Bennett Zamolik had his first career goal for UND, which was huge for him. Tyler Young, Abram Weeb, Cole Reshney all had goals as well. So great for them. And then Mats Lindgren had another one for CC to make it 5-2. So Jan only finishes above a 900 in one game, and hardly in that game he let in uh, two goals on 21 shots on Saturday. Excuse me. And then Caden and Bierko didn't really play that impressive either, except for on the Friday. He had a lackluster Saturday night. But UND went 0 for 3 on the power play on Friday. And I want to say 1 for 3. Yeah, 1 for 3 on the Saturday. So 1 for 6 on the weekend, which is 20%. Obviously, you want to see that be a little bit better. Uh, I'll let you guys kind of go into what you guys want to talk about that matchup.
Uh, yeah, I thought it was a pretty positive weekend, all things considered. You look at the way it didn't go UND's way Friday, losing in overtime, but they still tied it up, which in three on three, the tournament's not played in 3-on-3 format. So, sometimes you win the 3-on-3 game, sometimes you don't, and whatnot. Yeah, we talked about, it wasn't Spunar's flashiest weekend, but I still thought he played good enough for them to win. But he only let up 3 goals on Friday, which, like we said, one was in overtime, and then Saturday he let up two, and one was the game was
Right.
already over. So, I mean, it's honestly a good thing that we would consider. I wouldn't really consider it a bad weekend, but not maybe what he would have wanted. That just goes to show how well he's been playing. Um, and UND. This is another thing. Friday, UND only had 2 goals. I think we're going to see a lot of this down the stretch. Maybe not UND scoring drying up, but more of just UND, as you kind of said, Dave, running into a hot goalie, because there are a lot of really good goalies in the NCHC. So if there's a lot of splits in the second half, I think you're going to be able to look at the box scores and go, hey, we lost and we need to win. North Dakota needs to win. But if you're putting up 40 shots, I guess that's a positive. Again, you do have to execute to a certain point, but UND's gonna run into a lot of good goalies down the stretch here, which is something I think UND fans should keep in mind. But yeah, that was kind of just my analysis of the weekend.
Right.
Just yeah, happy they got a win, and I happy how they ended the game Saturday with 5 goals. I think that really put a statement and good. It had the boys in a good mood heading back home and then to Denver.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, I thought we played pretty lackluster Friday, and even then, we were able to control the game for a majority of the game
Yeah.
against the Colorado College team, who we all know is very good at disrupting our flow. Looking at the last 10 games now, they're 7-2-1 against us. So, like, that's probably the best margin anybody has against us right now in their last 10. And so I thought the response Saturday was good. Passing could have been better Friday, and I think they got kind of grilled into a bit about that. But this is a team that, even on a lackluster night, can still control the pace, and that's what's fun to watch. Is like we may have a couple bad stretches here and there, but we're still a very dominant team, even when we're not playing nearly our best hockey. Um, and yeah, shout out to Bennett Smolik, his first goal in 4 years.
Yeah.
And I saw the video this morning, but seeing everybody fired up in the locker room for him is just another good sign that like this team is hopefully starting to peak at the right time, and they're all built together as a team. So overall, not a bad weekend. Certainly would like to get all six there, but that place is for some reason haunted for UND recently. So
Right.
it is what it is. And even on Friday, I was telling this to you guys that whole night is like we should have 5 or 6 goals minimum. I think we rung the post 3 or 4 times Friday night, and there were also just grade A chances that Mbarico was able to get in front of. So I'm not too upset about the weekend.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing too. I think it was interesting too that we obviously you kind of pointed it out. I thought the play was a little lackluster. I wouldn't say that surprised me by any means. Guys were still recovering from the World Juniors and whatnot. I don't think guys are practiced. I know guys were practicing, but it wasn't like we're full swing into the second semester here going. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. But like you said, Ian, like they were dominating and probably should have won the game Friday, and it's still we consider it not a good performance. Like if the goals just start falling, which they did Saturday, I mean this team's gonna be. We already know how good they are, but I'm really curious down the stretch with Denver, Arizona State, and Duluth. Like there's a lot of time to put points together, and UND definitely they did lose on Friday, but the teams that were right behind them lost too. Denver lost, which you could argue fires them more up for this weekend, but
Hmm.
right now UND's still sitting at the top of the league standings, which I think is something
with
to
a good
yeah be
margin.
happy about.
Even further than they're a game and I think an overtime win ahead of everybody.
Hmm.
5 points.
And
So,
Western does not play this weekend, so that's another thing to keep in mind is, I mean, worst comes to worst, and we even get swept, which I don't think is going to happen at all, but we're still only 1 point behind first place. So, I mean,
mhm.
right now we're in really good shape. We've been taking care of business. People also probably don't know that Colorado College is at over 6,000 feet in elevation, so keep that in mind too. That's like 5,000 feet higher than our guys are used to playing in. So
Hmm.
that's kind of why we've had a disadvantage going to Denver and
Right,
CC, and so. Denver will probably have some extra wind this weekend coming down from the mountains, but it'll be good to get back on our home turf.
right. Yeah, I think a couple good things you guys hit on there. I did talk to Dylan James about the loss on Friday, and he spoke about the height difference and how that kind of killed them, and they lost some wind and they had to get used to it a little bit more going into Saturday, and obviously they pulled out the win. Uh, Lincoln, I do agree with you. I think that Jan Spunar did play good enough to win, but I'd really like to see him clean up that glove side. He let in, I want to say, 3 to 4 goals on that glove side this weekend, and I'd say a number of them were relatively soft. I'm not saying all of them. Uh, I know someone said Benson, and you said one of them was tipped. I didn't see that. I looked back at the video. I'm not going to say that it was or wasn't, but from what I could tell, I couldn't see the puck change direction at all. I could be wrong. I don't know. But at the same time, I'd like to see Jan work on that glove side a little bit more. I assume they're going to address that in practice because the coaches are smarter than I am. But um, Jan, to see a guy who has been playing just so phenomenal all year long, give up some of those goals. It's got to be tough for him. Hopefully, it doesn't create a mental strain on his game or anything like that, and hopefully, he's able to bounce back this weekend. So yeah, let's go into before I move on. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add to that before we move to Denver? Everyone good to go?
I think we're good,
Lincoln,
man.
I'll take you looking down at your phone as you're fine with moving on. So without further ado. Number two in the NPI, North Dakota, set 17-5-0 in overall and 9-3-0 in conference play. Wait a second, that's not right. One of
That's right.
those or two, well, two of them should technically be like nine. It should be like 9-1-0-0
What?
and 1 or something like that. I don't know.
9-1.
Doesn't matter.
No,
One
losses.
conference regulation loss, two conference overtime losses, one to Denver, one to CC this last weekend. They'll take on the 11th ranked in the NPI Denver, who is 12-9-2 overall, and then 8-4-0 in conference play. North Dakota going into this weekend, they averaged 3.8 goals for, 2.1 goals against, which is seventh in goal margin. Does that mean in the country, Ian?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yep.
They're 31.3% on the power play. They dropped to third. They were number one going into last week. And obviously, we just talked about how they went 1 for 6, only 20%. And then they are 82.9% on the PK, which is good for 21st in the country. Jan Spunar is now 11-1-0, so he gets that first loss on his record, his first career loss. He's got two shutouts and then
He is first in the country
1.167.
for record.
He's
Yep.
first for the goals against. Okay. Or
Hmm.
for the record. Okay. And then
Hmm.
1.67 goals against, which is good for first in the country. 929 save percentage. Obviously, that's a small decrease from last weekend. And he's good for ninth in the country in that. Denver enters the weekend with averaging 3.6 goals for and 2.4 goals against. That's an 11th. That's for good for the 11th goal margin in the country. Their power play is running at 20.7%, good for 29th in the country, which is about I would say, I don't know what you want to say that, like maybe the 60th percentile. Um, so they're a little bit above the half of the league mark, which would be 64 teams, 32. So three above the middle of the pack. 82.3% on the penalty kill, which is good for 27th in the country. Quentin Miller has been their starting goaltender for majority of the year. He's 8-2, three shutouts, tied for 30th in his record. Is that it means? Okay.
The
And
winning
then
percentage, correct?
okay, 2.27 goals against, which is 17th in the country, and then he ranks 18th in the country in save percentage at 19 or 919 .919. Stats to watch this weekend. Denver is 0-4-1 in their last five. The one is a shootout loss, and they are 1.8 goals for, 4.4 goals against average in those five games. So quite a bit of a difference there in the margin in their last five. And their opponents were St. Cloud State, Maine, and Western Michigan. Western Michigan swept Denver at home last weekend, which is funny because Denver skyrocketed in the rankings after they swept Western in Western. So Western maybe was I mean, not maybe, they were in a little bit of a rut at that time, and now it looks like Denver's in a little bit of a rut. So both teams taking advantage of that this last weekend, and I believe they played in November. UND is 4-6 in their last 10, 4-0 in the last four when the higher. Oh, this is against Denver. Sorry. Maybe I
Mhm.
should let you read this, Ian. I'll just let you
Yeah, so I
finish it off
mean,
because you did all this work, so you can go ahead and.
thanks, man. First and foremost, it's been fun to see the goals against for North Dakota continue to decrease throughout the year. Like I know at the start of the year it was at like 2.6, and then now it was down to like 2.4. Now it's down to almost 2, which is, I mean, to allow only 2 goals a game on average is pretty impressive. And that just shows you how deep our decor is. That's been kind of what everybody's starting to say about UND is that their decor is far and away the best in the nation, which is great. That's what wins games. So. Kind of an interesting one here. And this is just, I guess, coincidental, if anything, but when we were the higher seed at home versus Denver, we were 4-0. And so obviously going into this weekend, we are the higher seed against what I would say is one of the weaker Denver teams this decade. This is probably one of the weakest teams they've had this decade. Maybe 2021 was not a very good team. I'm not sure. I don't remember that far back, but
I don't think
uh,
that they didn't make the tournament. They were mid,
yeah.
but that team went on to win the national championship the next year, so we'll hold our tongues.
Yeah, and when we're the lower seed at home, coincidentally, we were 0-4. So this is like in mid-January, this is becoming a very crucial series for both teams. You're both top two in the conference. North Dakota is looking to, get the sweep they need to sit comfortably in the MPI to the point where we'll more than likely get a 1 seed, barring we, play well in every other aspect for the rest of the year. But Denver, this is kind of a make or break situation. You see 11th and pairwise, and you're like, oh, they're starting to be on the border there. They get swept this weekend. That probably puts them down around 15, 16, which is not a good spot to be. That means more than likely
Mm,
you're out of the tournament.
I don't know if they go down that far only because they're number two, but I could definitely see them dropping to 13 at the very least.
Hmm.
So on the
Yeah,
bubble
and
still.
this is a crucial. I mean, for David Carl, I will always trust his teams to perform well when it matters, and this is a weekend where this is going to matter a lot for Denver. If you sweep this weekend or even split, you're probably sitting comfy for playoffs. If you get swept, you're looking like you're going to have to win out the rest of the year and maybe even more than likely win the conference tourney to get in. So, um, it's just going to be an interesting weekend. And the last 2 times we swept them at the Ralph, they've gone on to win the championship that year. So, it almost kind of humorous, and it's almost like I don't want to sweep them at their elf just so we don't, lightning doesn't strike three times. It should be a fun weekend. It's going to be high level hockey. And yeah, I'm excited to see what North Dakota's got for them. I know probably coming off a CC, they're angry and they're like, we didn't play our best hockey this weekend. Let's go out and just piss pump Denver at home and prove to the NCAA's that we are the number one team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think looking at this matchup, like you said, Ian, it's become, I mean, after Minnesota left, I mean, we've always been a big rival with Denver. I mean, you see the old videos and stuff. And this is always a series that people circle on their calendar. It's probably the biggest rivalry. It is the biggest rivalry, in my opinion, that UND has outside of or inside the conference of the NCHC. It's always a bloodbath. These teams are always ranked when they're playing each other. A lot of hatred, a lot of grit. It's a lot. It's a really fun series to watch, and I think Lincoln here is the only. Ian, have you been to Denver to watch a game?
I have not been to Denver
Okay,
to
Lincoln is
watch a
the only
game.
one to have done that. So, Lincoln, I'll let you kind of go into, but why don't you also just tell everybody what it's kind of like playing or going to a game there, and what the rivalry in general, kind of what you see in it.
Yeah, it's like you said, Dave. It's probably I'd consider it the top rivalry outside of Minnesota. I remember going to Denver. It was really cool. Um, Honestly, though, is their arena's nice, but I was a little disappointed in their students. They show up like when the game starts. They remember Boston when all the students just
Yeah,
showed up. It was like they didn't have their student section was on the end. Everyone just showed up when the game started, which I thought was a little weird. But anyway, UND obviously travels well to Denver, has a fan following out there, which is good. Just kind of looking at Denver right now, I think besides Rieger Lorenz and Sam Harris, who are scoring quite a bit for them, their forward group appears to be pretty young. So I think that's somewhere where I would say UND and their older defensive core is going to have a pretty good advantage. Um, Especially in shutting those younger guys down. And I think one of the big keys for UND this week and will be shut down Eric Polkamp. He's probably the best defenseman in the NCHC, at least top two in my opinion. He's got what over 10 goals, which is absurd for a defenseman. Like if you get 10 goals as a defenseman in your career, that's a good career. He's got over 10 goals right now. He's really good. And then I think just score right away on Quentin Miller or whoever they start. I'd assume that's who it'd be.
yeah,
And but I don't know. I think this Denver team they're going to be coming in with a chip on their shoulder, and I think all
right.
bets are off. It doesn't records or not. Like they're going to play good. We're going to play good. It just comes down to who's the best team on the stat sheet at the end of the night, and I we might hot goalie them one night, or they might hot goalie us. We'll see what happens. So it's going to be a they're I know we were texting about it. Ian, you were saying they like to shoot the puck a lot, but they maybe aren't like high danger or high quality chances. So that'll be something I'm curious about seeing in
Hmm.
person too. But no, I'm excited for the series. I think just UND is just gonna have to shut down their best guys and just get after the young guys and score on Miller as quick as they can.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, the thing I like kind of like I said, I don't know if anybody watched, but Denver played Minnesota at the
Ball
um
arena.
that arena. Yeah, correct. And they had like 55 shots on goal, and yet they lost in overtime to Minnesota, who is like, still sub 500 right now. Um,
Hmm.
and after that, I kind of just was watching them, and I'm like, they don't really. To me, this is like they don't have a great defensive group this year. Like they have a couple pretty good offensive defensemen, but this is not the Denver defense that we have seen them have for the last few years. Like guys like Jack Devine and
Are
whatever
you
his name
kidding
was,
me?
I think.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, what?
Fine.
Divine, dude.
Says the guy who calls Ellis Rickwood Elias. Anyways,
And what did you call Adam Guyon?
Gajon, what about it? Um,
God.
this is I kind of feel like Carl is going out of his comfort zone this year, and so that's why you've kind of seen them struggle a little bit. Is that he's not able to really rely on just an unbelievable defense like he has in years prior to generate offensive chances, and so they're kind of just like high octane, like put as many shots on goal as you can. They're not necessarily great shots. So looking at that in the context of what our decor looks like, this could be a really good weekend for us to take advantage of that situation. You saw it with Western Michigan; they were just able to shut down their offense, and they were able to generate chances off the off the turnovers, etc. So I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a big weekend. I think this is one, like we said, breaking habits. I think Dane Jackson and Matt Smaby, they also kind of live this rivalry, and they're like getting the boys fired up because this is one of the weekends, if any, to sweep from here on out. So I'm excited for it. Should be good.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be looking forward to it. I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Denver comes out, especially with, you know, not putting up high quality shots. And I haven't seen a Denver team kind of be this confusing. They kind of came out, I think they came out a little slow, did they not? At the beginning, and then they
So
sped
they
up and then they
tied Air
slowed down
Force.
again.
Yeah, I think all before Thanksgiving, they tied Air Force like to open the
Right.
season, and then they lost
The
Lindenwood, and they
Lindenwood, yeah.
lost Anchorage, like three of the bottom
Right.
25% teams.
Yeah, and they beat
Like our
Boston
worst loss right now
College.
is Minnesota.
Yeah. So very confusing start for from looking just for the fly on the wall watching the Denver season. Pretty confusing. They didn't have a great start. Then they look like they're legit. They come out after you start thinking, okay, Denver's looking kind of soft this year. They lost to Anchorage and then they beat them. And then they go to Western and sweep Western. So then you're thinking Western's soft and Denver's good. And then they sweep CC. Then they go to Arizona State, beat them 7-1, start rolling, beating Miami, almost sweeping St. Cloud State. And then, they get swept. It's just a really kind of confusing year for Denver, not being able to put up, not able to win games at a consistent rate. It's kind of been fluctuating up and down for them, and they're going to look to answer the call, and that might come this weekend. So it's going to be an interesting weekend, Hopefully, they can come out swinging, like Lincoln said, and they can score f fast and set the tone, and hopefully they get Denver behind right away. Uh, is anything else on that before we go into like the vent line and score predictions for this week?
Seems like a lot of it's been on Quentin Miller. Like he was goaltender of the week in the NCHC for like 5 straight weeks, probably. And I don't know his stats as of recently, but if you're letting in almost 4.5 goals a game, surely it's not, just on the defense or just on the offense. It's also on goaltending. So, I mean, I honestly, this is the least worried I've been about Denver in the last 5 years. And not to say I'm not worried about Denver, but I think if you just compare the way we play, North Dakota has been able to shut down all offensive teams they've come against, and this is a high octane team, which, granted, really good offensively, but if you can shut them down, like kind of we did with Duluth, like we can dominate games. And I think this is the weekend we really prove ourselves, and I hope think we get a sweep.
Neil Stather or Lincoln. Okay. Mhm. Well, we'll get into our score predictions. Just a little recap of last week. On Friday night, I thought we would win 3-2 in overtime, and Ian said we win 4-1. Obviously, UND lost 3-2 in overtime. And then Saturday, I thought UND would win 4-2, and Ian thought we would get a 3-2 overtime win. So relatively close there on the Friday for me, and then I was a little bit closer on Saturday as well, but doesn't really matter. We both picked a win on Saturday, which UND did end up doing. And then let's get into this week. Ian, you already have yours down. Why don't you start with what you're picking and why?
I think Friday's a pretty high scoring game. I think both teams kind of come out just humming and flying around there on the ice. I think we win 6-3 with an empty netter. Here's another thing that I figured I should bring up. Dave Carl, for some unknown reason, I think they were down like 3 goals on the Saturday night game against Western, and he pulled the goalie with 11 minutes left.
Yeah, I did see that. I was like, what is he
Try and
doing?
score. And I have not seen the clip, but I just remember a couple of the Western buddies, they're like, what the hell is Carl doing right now? They pulled their goalie with 11 minutes left, like within 10 seconds, got scored on.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, Carl's probably just saying, F it, let's try something. We're getting demolished. But I don't know. I think we win 6-3 on Friday with an empty netter. So 5-3 technically. I think it's a pretty high scoring game. And I think Saturday really gets gritty, and we figure out how to control their offense. I think we take a 3-1 win. We come home with a sweep.
I like it. I'll go, Lincoln, you figure yours out here. You can go in the dock and enter your stuff in. Um, I'm gonna say 5-2 empty net goal. And then Saturday night, I think Denver pulls, they really start to shit their pants a little bit. Uh, clinching their ass a little bit, and then we end up winning 3-2, but I think we it gets pretty close. I think still. I think we win though. Lincoln?
Uh, I'm gonna go Friday 3-2 Denver, and I don't know. I think all bets are off in these rivalry games. I really do think it is a toss up. I know this might be a little bit weaker of a Denver team, but they're still really good, still really talented. And like
Still
I
lost to
said,
Minnesota, so
well, we lost to Minnesota.
no, that's what I'm saying. I said we still
Oh yeah,
lost to
yeah.
Minnesota. I'm
Okay,
like
yeah, yeah.
approving what you're saying. Yeah.
No, yeah. So I mean, like it's I'll just go 3-2 loss Friday, and then I think 4-1 Saturday. I think it's gonna be um, UND's gonna come out, they're gonna score, and then whoever's in net is gonna have a really good performance. So I think that's kind of been I would say the story of the season, but I think UND's gonna play really good both nights, but then it's just gonna come down to hey, Denver gets lucky Friday. But like I liked all your guys' predictions too. I can see literally anything happening, which is honestly exciting.
Vibes.
I
Okay.
think the home ice advantage is going to play kind of big into it. Like, South is almost always pretty alive, but when UND is very, very good against another good Denver team, that building gets very fired up.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that everybody comes into to the weekend like this is a team that could win the championship. This is going against Denver, a team who was like take one for us the last couple of times. Every time we won the Penrose, they go and win the championship. Like, let's get fired up. Let's just go at them. I know, like, the student section sits right over their entrance. Like, let's just get after them. I'm
Hmm.
hoping the crowd like, is into it and that the boys are humming. I mean, we have a home crowd everywhere we go. We might as well be animals when we're at home against a good Denver team. So,
Right. Yeah, I'd just like to say like if Denver loses, if they get swept by us this weekend, I think that kind of puts them out of the race for the Penrose Cup, pending that we don't get just molested in the rest of our games. As long as we were to like it would just put them out. Doesn't mean we're gonna win it. That means Western could definitely take it if they were to sweep us, but barring that we don't shit the bed and Western doesn't shit the bed down the stretch here. I think that if UND sweeps Denver, that kind of puts them that put kind of puts Denver out of the race. Being down, having the same amount of games played and being down, what would that put us? Up 11 points in the same amount of games as Denver. That's a really hard thing to overcome. Hoping that a team will lose 4 games that you win. It's hard to
Hmm.
catch up on 4 more games. We get 4 more wins in this team, the second ranked team in the country. So, if Denver wants to win the Penrose Cup, obviously that shouldn't be a team's number one priority going into this season. Um, but might put them out of the race for good if they lose. So maybe that builds off a little bit more or strengthens the argument that Lincoln's making there, where Denver, I think I agree with Lincoln to an extent where it is all bets are off, and no matter how good or bad each team is, one of them is going to pull out a win or find a way to do it. Happened with Minnesota. Minnesota is not a great team, and we were better than that team. And we lost to them in the third period because we played a shitty third period, and they just played better. So stuff can happen. I'm just gonna try and manifest a sweep, UND sweep, because I hope it happens, and I'd like to see it. But we'll see what happens here. Let's go into the vent line. If no one else has got anything else to add, real quick, we'll go in the vent line and then wrap this up.
Quick fun fact, in 1950, our first ever, I was just looking at this, our first ever matchup against Denver, we won 18-3.
Fellas,
Just a
nice.
fun fact. That's my prediction for Saturday night. 18-3
Score
dub.
change
All right.
prediction.
Holy shit. Uh, all right. The vent line. We didn't do it for a couple weeks there, but it's back and in full swing. Only got three entries though. John Novak said CC is really, in quotes, that team, end quote. We always struggle against officially second hate week. And then in parentheses, it's Denver with three stars in the middle of it instead of the EN and V. I don't know why he did that, but what do you guys have to say to that? We have struggled with them. I will say we have struggled with against them the last couple of years, and that's very evident. I mean, I don't remember who brought up the record if we're 7-2-1 in the last 10 games against them.
Yeah,
That's
they're just
pretty
they're seven
horrendous.
one. Yeah.
It's pretty
It's
horrendous.
almost like they build their teams just to beat us. Like I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking that like their team is just designed to throw us off our rhythm, and their defense is like pretty much solely designed around our zone entries. I just thought it was funny.
Right.
This team is just literally builds themselves to beat us.
Yeah, and it's like they're I was joking about this in our chat, but it's like the highlight of it's the highlight of everyone's season when North Dakota
Hmm.
comes to town because all their annoying fans come and every team just this it always happens. It's just frustrating, especially because like you look at CC, Coach Mayotte, and you're like, yeah, he's new arena, positive direction, and it's like year after year their record is just not great, and I know analytically they're supposed to be a better team, but it's like, dude, at the end of the day, you just gotta win games. Like I don't care, and yet for some reason the last few years they've had UND's number, so it's kind of
Mm.
annoying, but it's funny, and that's hockey.
Same with Omaha. I think Omaha and CC are kind of those small little brother programs that are just kind of, or maybe they're that little dog that's just biting your ankle and chewing on it when you're trying to talk politely to somebody, and they just, they keep wiggling your pant leg and won't fucking leave you alone. Sorry for the F-bomb. Uh, Lincoln, bleep that out. Thanks. It's 2022 said Zmolik scored and it seemed like the whole fan base didn't care about the score. I'm happy for him! Exclamation point. Thoughts, fellas? I didn't look at the
I don't think
Sioux
anybody
Sports or
saw it
anything on
go in,
Facebook.
right? Like I don't think anybody saw it go in, so that's kind of right away. Like nobody reacted. Like even I didn't see it go in. I thought Empirico had it under him. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's fun to see a guy like that who's kind of just fitting this mold of like I block shots and I just lead the team. It's cool to see him score. I do there's a better reaction. However, our fans tend to complain more than they celebrate, so I'm
Yeah,
not super surprised.
I will say that when I was watching the replay, watching a guy score with the C on his jersey and go and celebrate. I'm not used. I was like, I haven't seen this in a while. Why does it feel like I haven't seen this in a while? And it's because obviously Zamolik hasn't scored yet this year. And then also Louis Jamrick didn't do shit after like October last year. So, he didn't really score anything. And then the last guy was Reese Gaber. So that was 2 years ago almost. So it felt like it had been a while since we had seen the captain, the guy with the C on his jersey, really celebrate a goal. And I'm really, yeah, obviously we're really happy for him. He's me and Lincoln's neighbor, so maybe we'll have to drop off a card and some hockey tape or something, to congratulate him.
It was fun
So
just to see how happy he was and like everybody jumping into him.
yeah,
Like I don't even think he scored. He just kind of stood there just with a smile on his face.
yeah,
Everybody loves Big Z. It's fun to
yeah.
see him score.
Maybe we'll get him an edible arrangement or something. I know people just love getting those, the best thing ever. Um, no one likes those. And so. Ryan Qualley said, Umberto and his whining is a vent. Cannot stand that dude. Split plus is nice though from CC. All right, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're talking about in terms of Umberto whining. I mean, obviously he was complaining about the goal on the tying goal on Friday, which I totally get. Like from his eyes, he thinks he has it under his pad, and Dylan James is just clapping on his pad trying to get it in. I would totally have complained too, but he didn't know it. Only people who knew it were him, the ref. Sorry, not him. The ref and Ben Sternan knew that it was just open underneath him, that he could just swipe it. And that's what happened. So I would complain too if I were him. If I thought I had it under my pad and I thought Dylan James just trucked it in the net. Even Dylan James thought he had it under his pad because he celebrated because he thought he scored. But um, that and I'd say, ooh, I don't know what happened on. I mean, obviously he's going to be frustrated with himself on Saturday, letting up 5 goals. He's a better goalie than he's shown the last couple of years, and
He only let up four, I think, because he got hurt kind of in the early
oh
third
yeah,
period.
that's right, that's right. I forgot about that.
But yeah, he compl like I don't mind complaining about that one, but it was like after every goal, he was going up and yelling in the ref's face about something, even when like nothing actually happened. Like
Yeah,
I know with the kick that Dylan James, just went off his skate and directed or anything. Like Mbarico throws
that's
his
not.
arm, like throws
Yeah,
his gloves off to try to yell at the ref. I'm like,
yeah,
seriously? Yeah, he did complain a lot. I will attest to that. Like
yeah.
what is about him, but he just like every single time something happened, he was just like yelling at the ref over something, some bull
hmm
crap.
Which is really a shame because I had a lot of, especially his freshman and sophomore years, I had a lot of respect for him. He's a great goaltender and was going to start leading a team, struggling CC team to hopefully prominence. And they were really close 2 years ago. They were right on the bubble and they were like the last team out. So that was a shame to not see them make it at least once. They haven't been in it since I want to say, ooh, 2011 maybe. I think that was the
Yeah,
last
really.
time, maybe 2013. I don't remember, something around there. So gotta hope that they're gonna make it here soon. Obviously, Omaha's had their chance. Western's had their chance. They hadn't made it in a long time, and obviously they made it quite a few times and won the national championship since then. So Miami, it's been a little while. Uh, CC's that team that needs to get it done. Miami's made it even more recent than CC. So hopefully they can get it done. Not Doesn't look like it's gonna happen this year, but possibly in the near future. Anyone else got anything else to add before we wrap this thing up here, fellas? A little bit of a short one this week. I think we're at like 40 minutes, I want to say.
Getting hell,
Nothing.
man. Let's get a sweep, solidify the one seed for pairwise. That's my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to take a second, as always, to thank our viewers. Thank you for listening to the pod and making it all the way if you made it to the end of this video. Please follow us or subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. If you enjoyed it, we hope to see you back here next week. We'll have the vent line open and hopefully you enjoy all the hockey going on. Obviously, go Sioux, go Fighting Hawks, whatever you want to say. Oh, what did you guys think of the uh is it Grubin? John Gruden? What do you guys think of that
Yeah, so
opening the
John
package
Gruden,
today?
famous Ball Almanac coach. Yeah,
He's a
I guess
coach.
Bryn
Yeah.
Chisholm and Jackson sent him a UND hockey care package. Unfortunately, they did not include that we're suing Hawks. They sent the Hawks about 20 times.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. And everybody was flooding his comments and DMs. We're the Fighting Sioux. Yeah, it was cool. And they sent him a lot of good stuff. Like they sent him an authentic
Yeah.
helmet.
I was really impressed with how much he actually did his research about the program. He noted a bunch of good alum, Brock Besser, Brock Nelson, Jonathan Tay, Zach Parise, TJ Oshie. Mike Commodore even got mentioned, so that was really cool.
All for it
Surprised
too.
he didn't say Jake Sanders at all. That's okay though. But yeah, he got sent a lot of cool stuff, and I think he did a great video besides saying Fighting Hawks about 20 times. I would have liked to have had him say maybe when he was announcing Parisi or Commodore that they played for the Fighting Sioux, because technically they did. But That's okay. You can't get it, can't win them all. Still did a great job on the video. If you haven't seen it, go to John Gruden Barstool. Just look that up on Instagram. You should find it. Yeah,
And on the good side, they invited him to the Ralph, correct?
yeah,
I think they
they
like
did.
gave him complimentary tickets to come up to the Ralph. So hopefully he'll do a video up at the Ralph. It's always cool to get kind of national recognition. Like I know we had a couple years ago, there was that goal that got put on Bleacher Report for UND, and so it's
That's
cool. I
cool.
think he's doing another good thing here, and he's just doing his job. He's building recruiting. He's
Bryn's doing a
putting
great
us out there
job.
nationally. Yeah, so shout out to Chiswick. He's a beast.
What goal are you talking about on Bleacher Report?
Hunter Johannes scored a goal, I want to say against like Mankato, and it was the
Oh
straight
yeah,
down shot.
yeah, I remember that.
The what?
It was like a vertical shot
Oh yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. That James Vigil did.
bad
Yeah,
side
I
of
got
it.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that video pretty much helped him get his job at with the Minnesota Wild and the MLB. So yeah, I like James a lot. Saw him on New Year's Eve, pretty sweet. But yeah, he was there. I don't did I introduce you? No, that was a different night. Sorry. That was against Finland when we lost.
Mm.
Um anyway, that'll about do it. Thank you for listening once again. We'll leave all of our socials in the description of this video. So if you get a chance, go and follow our Instagram, ND_ice_official. We're most active on there. We post game game stuff and news. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.